But equally, inquiry may lead to ideas and priorities that are not understood by the majority or are ahead of the curve. CBR and KMB can sometimes be associated with one side of the traditional tension, that side involving partnerships, targeted research, and interdisciplinary approaches. But the true value of CBR and KMB has to do with keeping scholarship on its toes, challenging received truths, questioning dominant theory, experimenting with new methods, and bringing in fresh ideas and perspectives. To use the words of SSHRC's president, CBR and KMB have a key role in ensuring complexity, the complexity, diversity, and creativity that make the work of our part of the Academy valuable to society. KMB at SSHRC over the last 2 years has been focused on the both-and model. It supports academic dissemination, as we've always known it, so journal articles, publishing of monographs, academic workshops and conferences, and it supports mobilization or outreach work designed to reach well past traditional academia, to engage other experts, non-academic researchers, professionals, practitioners, and diverse communities of knowledge. KMB at SSHRC is also highly recursive. Our sense is that the effort made to mobilize knowledge to or with non-academics pays off handsomely in academic terms. It provides an opportunity to test theory against practice. It invites new or supplementary data or knowledge resources, and it draws in financial, human, and material resources in support of research. But this is the same set of reasons the Academy relies on peer review as its engine for research advancement. Peer review in the university means that researchers must communicate their findings. Why? So they can be criticized and thereby improve their findings. It's the same in the wider pattern developed by CBR and KMB. They provide a widened and challenging form of peer review that includes the experts involved in whatever areas of knowledge are being studied. So who are the peers for research on immigration? Immigration lawyers, government policy analysts, social service officers, religious officials, immigration advocates, and the immigrants themselves, and of course the academics. The wider form of peer review does not replace the first. There is still a need for professional discourse within fields, but this wider engagement has a key role in scholarship. CBR and KMB, because of their emphasis on connecting with the citizen, appear sometimes to be about charity, social action, and community service. Those elements are certainly there, but the true purpose and force of CBR and KMB is intellectual. The work is about ideas, with democratic engagement serving as a means for new and exciting forms of inquiry. Finally, the skepticism of government has to do with the insistence on proof of value for money spent in support of humanities and social science research. Like the others, this layer of skepticism is both virtuous and impeding. The virtue has to do with insisting on value for money, on generating actual results for Canadians in the form from the programs they help finance. Call it vigilance in the service of prudent spending. The impediment is that you have to keep probing until you find tangible outcomes or results. The skepticism takes the form of a persistent so what. Yes, you have good intentions, but how will you translate them into reality? Yes, you have well-run programs that are generating all kinds of outputs for people, but so what? How do you know these activities are really changing things for the better? Prove it. This is a tough haul for the humanities and social sciences. On average, we don't produce technologies that can be commercialized, and we don't invent medical solutions. We do educate and train thousands of people who enter productive careers throughout all sectors of society. But for some reason, we're obliged to identify direct and fairly immediate results from the research we fund, not the longer range results that come from a talented workforce. At SSHRC, we're working to change this game. In 2008, our evaluation division commissioned a study by Ron Friedman at the Impact Group called The Economic Role and Influence of Social Sciences and Humanities, a Conjecture. This report came up with some startling preliminary analysis of inputs to the economy from the social sciences and humanities, or SSH, on one hand, and science, technology, engineering, and medicine, STEM, on the other. So SSH-based industries like Thomson Corporation, Torstar, Cosette Communication, Cirque du Soleil, Canadian Western Bank, Manulife Financial Corp, Stratford Festival, and Industry Canada, according to the study, account for 76% of employment, whereas STEM industries account for 24%. Industries that rely primarily on SSH inputs account for $696 billion of annual GDP output. Industries that rely on STEM inputs account for $431 billion. Now, the truth is that a great country needs any and all research and learning, but I confess to the presence of a competitive streak that just loves those kind of numbers. We are also opening up some important empirical work these days in the analysis of research results. I'm particularly fond of a series of case studies being prepared for the current evaluation of our standard grants and research development programs. One study focuses on a project called Studying Virtual Team Effectiveness in Organizations, and it traces how the scholarly ideas developed through the project on virtual teams, multi-communicating, and knowledge hiding moved out in stages through the scholars and other collaborators to generate intellectual, social, and economic benefits to the whole community. Company executives have been trained and mentored in best practices deriving from the research. The knowledge flowed into courses in virtual and cross-cultural team training in the executive education and Masters of Global Management programs here at Queen's, as well as instruction for MBA students at HEC Montreal. One of the graduate students involved was able to improve the efficiency of a not-for-profit's virtual teamwork, passing on as well knowledge of MS Project software. And 100 reports on the research results were provided to participating organizations, and the research is being folded forward into further research on how people can use information technologies to reduce carbon output in organizations, and it went on. What we have through case studies such as this one is a photograph that is slowly coming into focus. A steadily improving picture of how research money facilitates the scholarly pursuit of ideas in an organic and expanding network of scholars and other experts who generate surprising value for the community. In short, what we see in these studies are subtle and very effective forms of CBR and KMB, initiatives centered on a fundamental intellectual pursuit that rely on methods of inclusion or democratic engagement and that generate wealth in its various forms. We need to increase our detailed empirical understanding of how inquiry in the humanities and social sciences works, how ideas translate into economic and social benefits. That understanding will allow us to meet government expectations, to lay out how investment in social sciences and humanities translates into practical results for Canadians, and it should allow us to protect the integrity of scholarship. What then, the value of CBR and KMB? They are working to loosen up our skepticism, bringing out the promise of a less ambivalent approach to investment in the humanities and social sciences. CBR and KMB demonstrate the commitment of professors and students in the humanities and social sciences to benefit the wider community.